in my bubble of social media and my fan base, I'm looked at oftentimes as like this example of like what a man can be, or like how a woman should be treated by a man, or the way that I talk about my wife, or how present I am as a father, and all of the things that social media can paint. And yet there are times when I will say something to my wife because I'm in my wound that, like, if there was a camera on, I would lose all my followers. I'd be canceled in a heartbeat because I'll say something out of my like ego that is mean.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. What if I told you the biggest Taylor Swift story right now isn't about her music, her tour, or her famous friends? It's about a PR secret that's been exposed. A playbook that turns every critic into a villain and every bad review into a conspiracy. And you're about to see how a mysterious, unknown company, a major magazine, and Taylor's own team might be connected in a way that changes how we see celebrity scandals forever. Here's what happened. Back in December, Rolling Stone dropped what looked like a major report. It claimed that the huge wave of online backlash against Taylor's new album, specifically the wild claims about Nazi symbolism, wasn't real. It was, they said, driven by an inauthentic network of bots and fake accounts. But here's the twist that started the real fire. The article didn't just stop there. It subtly tried to link this so-called bot campaign against Taylor to another supposed smear campaign from last summer against Blake Lively. The implication was that because both women faced online criticism, maybe it was coming from the same place. And that led people online to a shocking conclusion. Maybe Blake Lively's It Ends With Us director, Justin Baldoni, or his team was behind it all. Can you see the problem here? This is a classic case of implying a connection without any solid proof. It got Swifties furious at Baldoni, and it got Baldoni supporters furious at the accusation. Everyone was fighting, but over what? A report that made a giant leap based on almost nothing. This is where the real investigation begins. Because recently, The Verge, an outlet known for deep tech and media analysis, published their own bombshell article. They didn't just re-report the story, they dug into the source. And what they found was bizarre. That groundbreaking report Rolling Stone relied on, it came from a company called Goodya. You've never heard of them, and there's a reason why. This social listening firm appears to have launched just last year. Its website is practically empty. It has no public client list, no visible track record. The only substantial thing on its entire site is this one report about Taylor Swift. The report itself claimed to analyze tens of thousands of posts across dozens of platforms. It argued that extreme narratives started on places like 4chan and were then deliberately spread to mainstream social media to manipulate the conversation around Taylor. For many fans, this was the ultimate "I told you so" proof that all the hate was fake. But for critics and journalists, the red flags were immediate. Who is this company? Why would Rolling Stone, a major publication, stake a story on such an obscure source? And most importantly, where did this report even come from? The Verge reached out to the Rolling Stone reporter, Miles Klee. He stated the magazine did not pay for the report and that Taylor Swift is not a Goodya client. He also tried to clarify that the article wasn't calling all criticism bots, just a coordinated subset. But then, The Verge contacted Taylor Swift's powerhouse publicist, the legendary T-Pain. And her response, or, more accurately, her non-response, is where the story goes from strange to seriously suspicious. And the detail I'm about to reveal is the key to everything. You have to stay until the end for this. So, what did T-Pain, Taylor Swift's gatekeeper, have to say about the shady report that was supposedly defending her client? According to The Verge, she didn't give a statement. But it's how she tried to communicate that speaks volumes. The Verge has a strict policy. They don't allow PR people to speak on background only, meaning they won't accept information that can't be quoted and directly attributed. And that's exactly what T-Pain reportedly asked to do. Let's break down why this is a massive red flag. If Taylor's team truly had nothing to do with this Goodya report, if it just randomly appeared from the internet void, what background would there possibly be to give? The only clear statement would be, we have no involvement. We've never heard of this company. Full stop. Asking to go off the record is what you do when you have sensitive information to share, context to provide, or a narrative to shape, but you don't want your name on it. It's what you do when you're involved. So this move by T-Pain doesn't signal innocence. It hints at a behind-the-scenes conversation they didn't want made public. This brings us to the biggest question of all. How did this flimsy report from a nobody company land on the desk of a Rolling Stone writer? The official story from Goodyear's founder, a person named Presley, is that they gave it to Rolling Stone exclusively because it aligned with the writer's beat. They claim it was just a PR move to get their new firm some media coverage. But come on, think about that. A tiny, brand new analytics firm with a single Methodology Light report just happens to get a prominent feature in a major music magazine. And that writer, Miles Klee, just happens to have a history of writing pieces defending Taylor Swift from her critics. The odds are astronomical. It feels less like a coincidence and more like a delivery. It raises the very real possibility that someone on Taylor's team, aware of this report, helped guide it to a friendly journalist. When The Verge asked if they'd contacted Swift's team, Goodyear said they'd used publicly available legal contact information after the report was done and heard nothing back. But if T-Pain was already in off-the-record talks with The Verge about it, that timeline gets very murky very fast. Now, let's talk about the report's credibility. Experts who looked at it, like University of Alabama professor Jessica Maddox, who is a Swift fan herself, pointed out glaring holes. There's no detailed methodology. We don't know how they collected their data, what statistical tests they used, or how they distinguished a bot from a real, angry person. There are no sample posts, no breakdown of where the posts came from. Most damningly, Goodyear told Rolling Stone the whole investigation was sparked by a gut feeling from someone on their staff. A gut feeling. That's the foundation of this entire media firestorm. This isn't rigorous analysis. It's a conclusion in search of evidence. And here's the dangerous part of the report's framing. By focusing only on the most extreme, obviously false Nazi comparisons, it acted like a blanket. It attempted to cover and discredit all the criticism Taylor received, including the valid, good-faith critiques that had nothing to do with 4chan. The Verge article made this clear. It pointed out that conversations about cultural appropriation in her lyrics, about her use of African-American vernacular, about the album's quality, and about the ethics of her extreme wealth, these were organic. These were real discussions from real people. The Goodyear report, by muddying the waters, risked dismissing these serious conversations as just more inauthentic noise. This is the real magic trick of modern PR. Don't address the criticism, reclassify the critics. Turn them into bots, bad actors, or part of a shadowy campaign. It makes the problem seem external and sinister, rather than a reaction to something the celebrity actually did. And this brings us back to Blake Lively. Because this is where the story connects, and where the motive might become clear. What you're about to hear next ties this whole strange saga directly to unfolding legal drama, and the timing is everything. So why drag Blake Lively into a story about Taylor Swift's album Backlash? The supposed link in the report was always the weakest part. As many pointed out, the criticism Blake faced last summer was completely different. People were upset about her promotional tactics for It Ends With Us, claiming she was being tone-deaf, that she was overshadowing her co-star and director Justin Baldoni, and that she was self-promoting. No one was accusing her of being a Nazi. The two campaigns had nothing in common, which makes that link in the Rolling Stone article feel less like an analysis and more like a strategic insertion. And to understand why, you need to look at the timing. This Goodyear report was published by Rolling Stone in December. This was the exact same period that new, unsealed court documents from Blake Lively's legal battles were hitting the news. Those documents allegedly revealed deeper involvement from Taylor Swift in Blake's career moves than previously known, including text messages between them, and even that Taylor was present during a now infamous confrontation. Suddenly, the online conversation wasn't just about Taylor's album. It was also about her role as a powerful friend in Hollywood, meddling in industry drama. So, what better way to counter that narrative than to release a report that subtly bundles Taylor's negative press with Blake's? It creates a cloud of confusion. It implies both women are victims of the same shadowy force, indirectly pointing a finger at a common antagonist, Justin Baldoni. It's a brilliant, if cynical, deflection. It takes the heat off Taylor's own controversies by reframing her not as a powerful player, but as a fellow target. It's a classic, unite against a common enemy strategy. And it makes the entire critical conversation look like a coordinated hit job, rather than separate reactions to two celebrities' own actions. This is where we see the potential new celebrity PR playbook being written. Blake Lively's team has been accused of framing her valid criticism as an orchestrated smear. Now, we see almost an identical tactic suggested here with Taylor, dismissing a wave of bad press as inauthentic and coordinated. The ultimate goal: to never have to truly address the substance of the criticism. If people are debating whether the criticism is real, they're no longer talking about the criticism itself. It's a shield for a fragile celebrity ego. It says, the problem isn't my work or my actions, the problem is a bot army trying to tear me down. And let's be honest about the album. It sold millions. It broke records. But among critics, and in many fan circles, The Life of a Showgirl has been one of her most divisive projects. Wouldn't it have been simpler, maybe even more dignified, to just sit with that mixed reception? To own that not every project will be universally loved? Instead, this path was chosen, a path that involves a phantom analytics firm and magazine articles that feel more like legal briefs. So, let's answer the question we started with. Are Blake and Taylor that different? On the surface, no. Both are incredibly successful women. But this saga suggests their PR teams might be reading from the same controversial chapter, the one that teaches you how to weaponize victimhood to insulate yourself from accountability. What do you think? Was this Goodyear report a bizarre coincidence, or a calculated piece of a PR puzzle? Did Taylor Swift's team employ a Blake Lively-style strategy to deflect criticism? And more importantly, does this mark a scary new trend where all celebrity criticism can be written off as a bot campaign? I want to hear your verdict in the comments below. This is a complex story about media, power, and perception. So let's get the discussion started. If you want more deep dives into the hidden strategies of fame and PR, make sure you're part of this channel. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an analysis. And if this video made you see the news in a new light, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.